Michael Irvin made some headlines after saying on Boston radio station WEEI that, quote, some very significant people told him the Cowboys may pursue Tom Brady in free agency. But after creating a social media frenzy, Irvin is now clarifying those comments. He wrote on Twitter, "I never said Jerry or anyone in the organization said this to me. It was not anyone with the Dallas Cowboys." Oh, there's a shocking walk back. Rob Parker? Should the Cowboys go after Tom Brady?
First, I'm going to say Michael Irvin, I believe what he said. Michael Irvin does television, been out there, is connected to the Cowboys. If somebody had a conversation, I'm not saying that he walked it back because I'm sure the Cowboys aren't happy when you say that the starting quarterback, that they'd rather move on from him, you know, and that plays with Dak's head. So I can understand why he had to walk it back, but I do believe in what he said originally.
It was a Cowboys person.
I'm just saying somebody who's close to the organization, who has some inside information. You don't make that up. You don't talk about that without having something to go with. He knows about television. He knows about the field, what the pushback's going to be. You don't just put that out there if there's no truth to it. So that's what I'm saying. Now, the source could be wrong.
Should they go after
No,
Tom?
I get that. So I'm just saying that I believe in what Michael Irvin was saying.
What?
Now, when you talk about should they go after Tom Brady, I'm not that high on Tom Brady at age 43. Should they maybe look for an alternative at quarterback when you talk about Dak Prescott? Yes.
The question is Tom Brady.
No, this is my hardest
They
point.
go after Tom Brady.
If I look at both of them, I'm not good with either one. But if I had to pick, pick between the two, all right, Boston, I'm saying it. I would pick Tom Brady over Dak Prescott.
My goodness.
I would for the next year or two. I would, only from this standpoint.
Everything you said about Brady now is
No, it's not. No, it's not. When it comes to Dak Prescott,
or the some kind of goat?
no, Tom Brady's the load, and he would be lucky playing in Dallas. But here's my issue, and this is why when you look at Dak Prescott, you got to say to yourself, last year was probably the most telling of all. 3-0 to start the season. I remember Chris was saying he was en route to being elite. Remember when he nobody beat the Redskins, the Dolphins, and the Giants. 9 touchdowns, 2 picks, 128 passer rating, right? All that. Then the real season started where he had to play the better team. He was awful last year against teams who were 500 or better. 2-7, 11 touchdowns, 8 picks. Remember when they couldn't even beat Philadelphia in that big game to be able to win the division? Remember that? He had no touchdowns in that game. Dak Prescott, and here's the other part.
Go on.
Same draft, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott.
Wait, how many playoff wins?
No, hold on.
Oh,
those guys all got paid and got signed up by their team. Who's the guy who didn't get paid, who had won 2 of the 3 NFC East divisions? It was
Look at Greg
Prescott,
Jennings.
Look
at Greg Jennings.
Defensive players, Ezekiel Elliott. They signed everybody except Dak Prescott because I still don't believe that they even believe in him as much, despite the winning, despite what they've done as far as winning those divisions. That's why he's not signed. They signed Carson Wentz coming off an injury and gave him a big contract, right? Despite they won a Super Bowl without him. Jared Goff was coming off a horrible Super Bowl where they were the highest scoring offense, one of the highest scoring offense in the history of the NFL, scored 3 points in the Super Bowl on an 80-yard field goal. He got paid.
Is that a good contract?
No, but
okay, so
my point is that the Cowboys aren't all in. That's why Michael Irvin would even bring up a 43-year-old to replace him. If I'm the Cowboys and I got a chance to replace Dak Prescott, even with Tom Brady and Metamucil and all the other stuff that comes with them, I would be interested in Tom Brady.
I'm about to punch him in the mouth with his own words.
Please punch him in the mouth. Please punch his ass. Please.
Rob, come on, let's be real. Like, Tom
Go
Brady,
get him, Greg.
42
Get him, Greg.
years old. He'll be 43 to start the season. You're talking about a Dak Prescott. If we're talking just age, he's 26 years old. He'll be 27 to start the season. You're not going to make that decision based off of just that, period. But looking at what they've done, what has Dak Prescott done? He's done everything they've asked him to do. When he got the position, they said, well, let's see if he can manage the game. He managed the game. He won football games in the regular season. Did he win? Yes. Has he equated to wins? Yes. Has he been able to win a playoff game? He did that in year, 2? Three.
Three.
He did that in year 3. Now we're asking him, coming into this year, we were saying, okay, can he throw the ball accurately? Can he move the ball down the field? How can he advance? Can he make the players around him better instead of the players around him making him better? Did he do that? Yes, yes, yes. Can he now take his game to another level with a new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore? He did. He did all of these things. Rob, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
What's supposed to be? You had your moment. Stop it, Rob. Stop. Did you pick him? Did you pick him? Yeah, but I was wrong. You didn't pick him.
All right,
Stop.
relax.
When we talk about Dak Prescott, I understand the team has to win, but Dak Prescott did his part.
Thank you.
When you look at everything that he was asked to do,
everything,
and how he was able to perform this year, 4,900 passing yards, almost 30-plus touchdowns. Like, I don't want to hear.
Season of his
I don't
career.
want to hear he didn't do his job. I don't want to hear, you know, he still has something left to prove. They may not believe him. I don't. He has done everything that he's supposed to do as a quarterback. He leads. He leads by example. He's a great consummate pro on and off the field. You don't have any questions about Dak Prescott off the field, and you don't really have any questions about him on the field, provided what he's shown us this year in his trends. His trends are moving up. So I like Dak Prescott, and there is no way I would take Tom Brady over Dak Prescott.
I'm so with Greg Jennings on this.
Thank you.
Rob Parker, you are illustrating to
how stupid your ass is.
Why I call you the hibbo, the hatingest brother of all time. Now look, you said it about Tom Brady. And I like Tom Brady. He's going to be 43. And at the end, it comes swiftly. Peyton Manning, we saw what he looked like his last year.
Did he win?
Now, hold on.
Did he win a Super Bowl?
Listen, you had your turn. 9 touchdowns, 17 picks. The year before, Peyton Manning looked great. Threw for almost 5,000 yards. Threw over 30 touchdowns. It's almost 300 yards a game. It comes quickly. We don't know. It might come for Tom Brady next year. So as Greg said, hold age alone.
Hold up. Baldo Salazar. No. You can take that shit on out of here. Dak did not cost us games. You know what cost us games? Now see, I'm going to tell you what a game costing is. There was a reason why they called Tony Romo Tony Oh-No, because he'd have an interception or a pick at the wrong time. That's when you could say, that cost us a game because we had an opportunity to win. What cost us games were poor play calling. What cost us game was the fact that we had a kicker who couldn't kick inside the 50-yard line. The fact that we had a defense that couldn't hold water. Now, let me go back. Sorry about my interruption there. But see, I'm not taking stupid-ass comments in here. If you want to bring in stupid-ass comments, you will get called out. Okay? Excuse my language.
Means you keep Dak Prescott. Now, Dak Prescott is a franchise quarterback. I'm not saying he's Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes, anything like that. He's a quarterback you can win with, and that's hard to come by. Between Roger Staubach and Troy Aikman, it was 9 years before they got that franchise quarterback after Staubach. After Aikman, it was 5 years before they got Tony Romo. They can't give away Dak Prescott, have Tom Brady for a year or two, and then who knows how long you go before you get a Prescott. And you like to kill Dak. I don't know why, but here's the deal. Last year, Dak, 4th in the NFL in QBR.
Thank you.
4th in the NFL in touchdowns.
Thank you.
3rd in the NFL in yards per game.
Thank you.
5th in yards per attempt. And since you can talk all you want, because, yeah, last year they didn't beat the good teams. Okay, that's one out. Hold on.
But that's
one out of 4 years. In his career, since he's gotten in the league, he is 3rd among, actually tied for 2nd with Russell Wilson among all NFL quarterbacks in wins. Tom Brady's got 47. That's the most. Dak and Wilson have 40. And Dak would be ahead of him probably if he didn't have to play 6 games without Ezekiel Elliott. So you need to stop the hating on Dak Prescott. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, listen, Rob, hold on, Rob. I want to say something about Dak Prescott before you go off on him again. Chris made a great point. This was the greatest season he's had. He was a top 5 quarterback, according to every statistical measure. Your win-loss record, that's from a bygone era. That does not matter. Talk to the advanced analytics guys. Dak Prescott was incredible. The Cowboys actually asked him to run less. fewest carries, fewest rushing yards, fewest rushing touchdowns because he's become a better passing quarterback. I don't love Dak myself. I'm a Sam Darnold guy as a Jets fan, but I will say it would be foolish to go after Tom Brady and bring, as Greg said, a 43-year-old into a new offense, a new city, a new coaching staff. The familiarity's not there. It would be a disaster.
Dak Prescott is the new version of Matt Stafford. That's what he is.
Sit your ass down, Rob Parker. That is some just straight up bullshit. And you know what? I'm tired of this stuff, okay? And here's the thing. You know what? I'll tell you what. Let me first greet everybody who's here. Hello, friends. I'm Mark Holmes with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo and Joe Bear up in the house. Let's get open for business. Let's wake up the football guys because I am fired up, okay? I am fired the hell up. Shout out to all you great fans and stuff that are in here. But listen, let's stop this stuff because this is what the Cowboys do. The Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones understands there's no such thing as bad publicity. As long as they are talking about you, you are getting paid. And nothing illustrates that better than the fact that the Dallas Cowboys, even though we have not won the Super Bowl in 25 years, have on average 12,000 more fans in the stands. 12,000 more fans in the stands than the second place team. It's not hurting him in the wallet. That's why he's got a $250 million, 357-foot-long yacht. That's why he's got a his and her helicopter, because he knows as long as you're talking about them, they're on your mind, you're polarizing, and they're getting these idiots out here, these jackasses like Rob Parker paid because they're out there just hating on the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm sick and tired of this stuff. And I'm sick and tired of some of these fans that really don't understand what's going on, that listen and feed into this garbage that you are fed. Stop feeding into it. I ask you, I beg you, look around and make up your own minds. Don't go by what I say. Don't go by what they say. You look at the tapes. Be an educated fan out there and take a look. Because what happens with so many fans out there is you don't think about what Tom Brady's season was this year. You don't think about what Tom Brady's season was last year. All you know is he won Super Bowls. Well, you know what? Troy Aikman won Super Bowls too, but it doesn't mean he's going to win them today. Time is undefeated. And just like they pointed out about Peyton Manning, yes, he got a Super Bowl his last year, but it wasn't because of his arm. He literally hit a wall, had almost 5,000 yards the second year before he retired. The next year, I think he had 8 TD passes and 16 interceptions. Was literally a shell of himself. And if you actually paid attention to football and the statistics and what actually goes on, you'd understand that Tom Brady starts off real fast right now and starts going downhill because the age is catching up to him. And I'm not just making the shit up, because what I do is I do my research. Because here's what we're going to do. Here's what I want you to understand. And I don't know how you guys seem to think that, oh my God, if we get Tom Brady here, we got a Super Bowl this year. Cowboys up north, man. I just don't want to see how far away we are at this moment, and it takes time to set it up because I got to basically figure out exactly how many seconds it is to it, and then separate. It just and I can't find I got to find the instructions on it. I'll do it. I'll do it tomorrow. It's just been a long, trying day today. So, but you don't really want to see that there's 200 and some plus odd days left. But anyway, I digress. Be an educated fan. Be an educated fan. Because what you guys look at and say, well, Tom Brady beat Dak Prescott in New England. I will say Bill Belichick beat the Dallas Cowboys. Let's just look at some stuff here. Because here's what happens. Move the camera. What's wrong with my camera? Oh, you want the side camera? Oh, okay, my bad. Here's what happens over here. Tom Brady. Tom terrific. Tom has had an incredible career. When you look at his numbers, Jet D in the house. Thank you very much. Oh,
Jet D in the house. Thank you very much for that super chat for broke ass media. I appreciate it.
When you think about 74,571 yards, that's freaking incredible. You think about a career of 63.8 passing completions, unbelievable. You think about, where's the touchdowns? 541 touchdowns, 179 interceptions. That's just off the chain, averaging 7.5 yards per completion. That is, you could say that he's been the greatest quarterback in football. He's got more rings than anybody else. He's great. I'm not disputing that. But here's what's kind of interesting as we start to look at things. The victories, 12-4, 11-1, 13-3, 11-5, 12-4. You look at that and say, man, you know, they win with Tom Brady, which is true. But what I want you to look at real closely is what you're seeing in front of your eyes. Completion percentages, 67, 66, 65, 60. Last 4 years, 4 straight years of decline. Yardage-wise, now, this year, of course, he missed 4 games because they had the suspension. So you can't say that his yardage went down there, but he missed 4 games, in which case he would have been over 4,500. But 45, 43, 4,000. That's a decline. You look at it. Of course, 28 and 11 and 12 games, but 32, 29, 24. Go back to interceptions, 2, 8, 11, and 8. So you're looking at a quarterback who's declined. And as we go down through it here, this is the one that really worries me if you're a Cowboy fan thinking, I want to replace him with Dak. 8.2, 7.9, 7.6 to 6.6. Isn't 6.6, isn't that dinking and dunking? Isn't that what we talked about Dak Prescott, that Dak Prescott's just a dink and dunker and can't go down the field? I know what they're going to say, but he didn't have guys to throw to. His receiving core wasn't that good. Well, we couldn't use that with Dak in 2017 when we had, Allen Hurns and Terrence Williams and Cole Beasley and, those guys. And we couldn't use that for an excuse. They said that a franchise quarterback elevates the players around him. And so if you think that taking Dak's numbers from this year, where he had 4,900 yards, 30 TDs, 3 more interceptions, and averaged almost 2 yards more per pass, you're going to say that that gives you a better record? Let's just humor me here, because I'm looking at Dak's numbers for the year: 4,902 yards. Sorry, that's advanced static. Wrong list. I know they were 8-8, but 4,902 yards, 30 TDs, 11 interceptions, averaged 8.2 yards per pass. I get it. Back here in 2017 when it was 6.8, and we said Dak Prescott regressed. That year that we said that Dak Prescott sucked, that Dak Prescott wasn't doing it. He had 22 TDs, 13 interceptions, and was 6.8. Compare that to Tom Brady's this year, where Tom Brady only had 24 TDs, 0.2 of a yard less per completion. So explain to me how the 2017 Dak Prescott is going to win us more games. I will wait on that one, okay? Because I just don't see that. You sure miss Joseph Heatherly? Joseph, I've actually talked to him today. For some reason, my computer is freezing. Hold it. It's froze on me over here. Hold up. Hopefully it hasn't froze up on you guys. Dag nabbit. Let me see if I can get this back. Hold up. Whedon boys. Hang on for one quick second, guys, because this is low budget media. And I got to restart the computer. Hang on. Okay. Sorry, broke ass media. Had to reset the computer so I can see your chats. In fact, let me go ahead and pull them up over here. But this is the thing that drives me crazy, because automatically there's so many of you guys out there that are like, oh my God, we're going to get Tom Brady. We're going to go to the Super Bowl. Because it wasn't Tom Brady that got them to the playoffs. I want you to understand, as we look at Tom Brady, I want you to pay attention to this, because this is key here. Tom Brady, the last 8 games of the season, this is where I say age catches up to you. And see, I know this because at the end of the day, I don't have quite as much energy as I do in the morning. By the end of the week, I'm a little more worn down than I am the beginning of the week. But the last 8 games of the season, Tom Brady averaged 225 yards a game, 11 TDs, 4 interceptions, 57 completion percentage, 5.9 yards per pass, and an 81 rating. Does that sound like elite status to you? It doesn't to me. To me, it says average at best. But what most people don't seem to take into consideration, and we'll pull this up here too, is this. What you have is, bam, this one. Take a look at that. You see the New England? The New England right here? New England Patriots, the best defense in football. The best defense in football. And as we go through, let's break down the numbers here. Because, see, this is something that the Cowboys didn't have. Understand that New England Patriots, number 1, gave up on the season 225 points, only 14.1 points a game. That's pretty damn good. You have to go all the way down to 9th to the Dallas Cowboys that gave up 20.1. 20.1. They gave up 6 points less per game. Now, here's the amazing thing. You know how many games we had this year that were one-score games? Imagine if our defense gave up one less score, because that's what New England did. Oh, and by the way, they also led the league in takeaways. They had 37 of them, as opposed to the 16 that we had. So we gave our offense more opportunities with the ball. Oh, by the way, they also blocked 3 punts. You had the best mind in football in Bill Belichick. Will anybody say that Jason Garrett was the best mind in football? I don't know anybody that would say that. I just don't. What I'll say is we were handicapped with them. Because, see, here's what Bill Belichick can do. Bill Belichick takes guys like Matt Castle, who never started a game, who take over for Tom Brady and have a winning season with them. They take guys who are never started a season, like Jimmy Garoppolo, and win a couple games with them. And in fact, when that guy gets hurt, they take a guy who's drafted late in the draft, and Jacoby Brissett, and they win a game with him. Jason Garrett, when he lost Tony Romo, could win one game without him. One game with Matt Castle. So it's not really apples to oranges thinking that Tom Brady, unless he's coming here with Bill Belichick, is going to win for the Dallas Cowboys. And as we go through that same stretch that I'm talking about, that Tom Brady threw 225 yards a game, Dak was throwing 315, was 15-3 touchdowns, interception, had 4 more touchdowns, 1 less interception. His completion percentage was 5% better. His rating was 18 points better, and he averaged 2 yards further per pass. Now, if you can tell me, explain to me, I think I've almost got it back. If you can explain to me how that will win us more games, I would love to hear how that works. I would love to hear how we can do that, because I just don't see it. Now, this sounds great to talk about if you're the talking heads and you want to say, hey, it's the off season, we ain't got much going on, can we stir some stuff up? If you're Michael Irvin, who ended up kind of walking the whole thing back, this is kind of the same thing that we heard from Mike Farello when it came to Dez Bryant, where he was saying that, there might be a tape out there that's 10 times worse than Ray Rice. So slow your roll and be careful what you hear and believe is going on. The Cowboys aren't going for Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady's been given permission to, shop around and things like that, so that way he can, see if the grass is greener on the other side. We know that Phillip Rivers has been released by the Chargers. We believe that Jameis Winston isn't going to be re-signed in Tampa. It's possible that they end up getting rid of Derek Carr for the Raiders. So there's some people that are out there, places that you can go. But for the Dallas Cowboys to really just try and get rid of Dak Prescott, just to say, we don't need that guy. I want you to think about this. Don't worry, Robbie. If somebody's mocking me, that's okay. We're cool. They can say all they want. It is a free country. They can say I'm an idiot, which is fine. And, I've been told before that I don't know what I'm talking about, but I got to tell you, there's a couple of guys I used to talk about that I wish we had signed. I talked about Demario Davis. He actually came out now this year. Pro Football Focus is, I believe, 21st. Great linebacker, plays downhill. I talked about Calais Campbell and said that would be a great guy to get. And, well, Calais Campbell, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's also the NFL Man of the Year. I also said that draft Dak Prescott, he'd be the perfect quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. But, again, it's okay. They can mock me. It's cool. I'm okay. So, I just want you guys that hate Dak Prescott to just listen to this for 1 second. Dolphin Dak. The only thing Tom could provide Dallas are ridiculous roughing the passer calls. And I got to be honest, if Tom Brady was treated like most Cowboy players and they let him light him up like they do Dak Prescott, I don't know that Tom Brady would make it through the season. What are you, 5? Laugh out loud, right, Zeppelin? Okay. I'm sorry, I lost the chats because my stream went bad. I started a GoFundMe for Mark, help somebody helping somebody. I started a GoFundMe for Mark, help someone helping someone. Okay, I'm lost on that one. Watson, Jackson, Holmes, our young franchise quarterback. Dak is garbage. Well, it's amazing, though, Marcelo, that he's in the top 5 in every category for NFL quarterbacks. There's only 5 quarterbacks that threw for 30 or more TDs, and he was one of them. I think he was 3rd in total yards passed. So how is that garbage? Y'all don't start and disrespect me. Tom can come as long as he brings his Spygate camera. Sup, I'm hoping we don't lose Dak. We own Wentz. Oh, my God, Perry Lock. I'm so sick of Eagle fans that I'm not Well, look, I'm not trashing him. Am I lying? Brady has 6 rings. I don't think that Brady's going to win anymore, Lamar. That's what I'm saying. The fact that he is the age that he is, it's not trashing the man. The guy's a Hall of Famer, first ballot. They should just forget about the 5-year wait. As soon as he retires, just take his ass to Canton. Just take his ass to Canton. I'm not disrespecting him, but he is not the same quarterback he was a couple years ago. Look at the numbers. Am I lying? Am I lying about the numbers? Let's. Oh no. Because see, this is where this is what drives me crazy is people will go ahead and say I'm disrespecting somebody when I tell the truth. Listen, let's go here because see, if you go come in here and talk about me, I'm gonna go ahead and throw it right back at you because here's what you want to look at. Tom Brady, like I said, he averaged 6.6 yards per passes this year. You know what he did in the playoffs? Playoffs? You're talking about playoffs this year? 209 yards, 0 TDs, 1 interception, 59 rating in the playoffs, 5.65 yards per pass. Are you telling me that that is elite right now? That's what he did. That's right there. Look, let me change the camera. Look, Tennessee, they lost 54.5, 209 yards, no TDs, 1 interception, 59 rating, 5.65 yards per pass. His statistics are going down. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's garbage, but this isn't Pat Mahomes anymore. He's 43 years old. He will be next year. It's not the same guy. Look, you can go through here. Let's look at all the games because everybody talks about, well, he beat Dak Prescott. Well, did he? Look, 17 of 37 against us. 45 completion percentage. 190 yards, 1 TD. And that 1 TD was set up by a punt block. He had to go, 25 yards? That's it. Look at these numbers of some of these games. Cincinnati, 128 yards. Kansas City, 169. Against us, 190. Against Miami, only 221 yards. That's not, mind-blowing. That's not exceptional. That, at best, is average. We killed Dak and say, well, he didn't beat the Eagles. Well, he didn't, look, they lost to Miami. They lost to Kansas City. They lost to Houston. What I'm trying to say is that guy is not that guy from 4 years ago. And if you think that he's going to come in and make a difference, I'm telling you, he's not with the defense we had. He had the number 1 defense in football that took the ball away. And yet, that's what they did against Tennessee. 20 of 37. Tennessee only scored 20 points. How is that trashing Tom Brady? I'm not trashing him. I'm telling the truth. And you know what? I'm sick. Jerry. You know what? Guess what? The Jets ended up 7-9, only 1 game below us. And the Eagles lost to the Detroit Lions at home, who only won 3 games. You lose some games that you shouldn't lose, and you win some that you shouldn't win. That's football. I'm so sick of hearing we lost to the Jets. A 7-9 team? Okay. I could understand if it had been like the Detroit Lions, that were, didn't get a win. They were 7-9. They actually played well the second half of the season. And if you're going to put that on Dak, you're completely wrong. I'm not saying he was perfect, but you got 30 TDs. You got only 11 interceptions. You had 4,902 yards passing. Bro, that's not where our problem lies. Our problem lies that we can't stop anybody. And thinking that let's go ahead and just get rid of a guy. Because here's the list. After Troy Aikman got old, concussions took him over, we had Jason Garrett play 5 games in 98. And then Jason Garrett played 2 games in 99. Then we brought in Randall Cunningham. We said, all we need, we'll just bring in a veteran. We'll bring in Randall Cunningham. He played 3 games. That didn't work out so good, so then we had Anthony Wright. That didn't work out so good, so then we drafted Quincy Carter, who played 8 games. And then we played Anthony Wright, and we also brought in Ryan Leaf, who was probably the biggest bust in the history of football. And then we even tried Clint Stoner. And then we tried Chad Hutchinson. Then we went back to Quincy. We had Quincy again. Then we said, let's get another veteran. We'll get Vinny. And after Vinny, we got Drew Henson. And then we decided to go ahead and bring in Drew Brees before we got to Tony Romo. Wow. 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 That's the list right there of all of the guys that we had in here before we got to Tony Romo. You know, after Roger Staubach and Danny White, we had Gary Hogaboom, Steve Puller, Reggie Collar, Kevin Sweeney, Steve Pallure, and then went back to Kevin Sweeney before we had Troy Aikman and Steve Walsh. The Cowboys were lucky to go from Tony Romo to Dak Prescott. And any of you guys think that you can just throw that guy away and we'll just take Tom Brady and then draft another quarterback in the, third round, fourth round, we'll just get another quarterback. You are crazy. Jet, I feel sick just even talking about that list. And that's where I'm wondering where people who just say Dak is trash, just get somebody else. Please tell me who you're getting. I don't know who I'm just trying to say, who you getting? Who you going to get that's going to throw more than 30 touchdown passes? I look at, say, the Washington Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys keep playing and do the franchise tag. They could be the Washington Redskins. The Washington Redskins who paid Kirk Cousins $19 million on a franchise tag and then $24 million on a franchise tag, only to have him say, screw you, I'm out of here. And they figured, it's okay, we'll get a veteran quarterback in Alex Smith. We'll get Alex Smith because, he's a better quarterback than Kirk Cousins. He was so close with Andy Reid, we'll get him. And we'll pay him $23 million a year. He gets hurt. And you know what they've had to do? They paid him $23 million last year. And guess what they're going to do this year coming up? They're going to pay him another $23 million. And this is after they spent 3 number ones and a second in 2012 to get RG3 and thought they were going to be set up for the next 10 years. Only to have him be a one-year wonder. And so in the meantime, they go ahead and get Case Keenum. Because Case Keenum, he got to the NFC Championship game with the Vikings. They had Colt McCoy. And that didn't quite work out, so let's draft Dwayne Haskins. Because that, of course, will get a quarterback there. And here it is. They spent over $30 million this year on a quarterback. And the Redskins still don't have a quarterback. We could be the next Redskins team if we keep playing like we are. And for those of you, look, again, I got no problem listening to anybody's point. But those of you that are just out there saying Dak is trash, give me a solution. Don't just say Dak is trash, get rid of him. I want to know what your solution is. What's your solution to get your quarterback that you deem is going to be? You sent me an email about the football shelf. Did I get it? When did you send it, Dallas? I haven't looked at my email in a couple hours. I was actually not feeling real good this evening. In fact, I fell out and just basically had to take a nap. I was just feeling just dead and run down. So I haven't looked at my email since probably about 4 o'clock or so. I hear people say, well, trade Dak for 2 number ones. So let me see if I get this straight. Kirk Cousins, they thought about doing that with the Redskins, right? But then they said, if we do that, maybe nobody offers us 2 number ones with that franchise tag, then we're stuck with them. So they got nothing for him. If you think that you're going to get 2 number ones for Dak Prescott, that says somebody thinks that Dak Prescott's pretty good then, doesn't it? Doesn't that say that if you can get 2 number ones for a player, that he's pretty good? Am I wrong on that, Mike? If you can trade a quarterback, if you can trade a guy for 2 number ones, that kind of says that he's pretty good, doesn't it? That he's not trash. Because I don't know too many people that trade 2 number 1 picks for trash? And I can guarantee you.
Why would you want to trade Dak? But my question: how you going to trade a guy who's a free agent?
Well, you have to basically put the transition tag on him or the franchise tag and trade him that way. So that's where I'm kind of saying, if you think you're going to get 2 number 1s, and you're saying that he's a good player, and people are like, oh, well, why don't we just go ahead and, we'll trade with Miami. We'll trade him to Miami. We'll take 2 number 1s, and then we'll go ahead and get Tua. Are you sure that Tua's going to be better than Dak Prescott? Yeah, Brian Harding. 3 number 1s and a second, Brian. Don't forget that second. Think about how much that set your team back. If you had had those 3 number 1s and a second that you drafted on other players, think about where your team would have been. So, Tua, who just had hip surgery, they just said that he got a good report. And by the way, Scott Linehan got a job with LSU, I think it is, as passing coordinator.
Where did he go?
College. LSU, I think, passing coordinator.
That might be the best fit for him as college.
So, hypothetically, if you did trade Dak, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play this in my mind. Let's say Miami says, sure, we'll take Dak Prescott. We'll give you 2 number 1s. Okay? More than likely, you're going to have to draft Tua. And you may still need those 2 to get there. Now you got Tua that you're going to have to wait. I don't think he's going to come out the box and be better than 4,903 yards, 2 yards. You still have a shitty defense. You still have a shitty defense. If your quarterback threw for 4,902 yards, 30 TDs, and 11 interceptions, how much better do you think the offense can be? 500 yards more? 5 more TDs? I don't know. I'm just asking, what is the ceiling? Your defense, on the other hand, that gave up 20.1 yards a game, that couldn't stop running backs. That running backs got 4.6 yards up the middle. Instead of taking a number 1 pick and grabbing a quarterback that you're going to have to wait on, how about we take the number 1 pick that we have right now, and you get a mean, nasty, 350-pound defensive tackle to put in the middle of the field where you gave up 4.6 yards per game every time they ran the football? How about then you take the 2nd-round pick and you get the best safety that's out there? How about that? Because then you can start controlling the middle of the field, and maybe you start getting some takeaways to give your offense a few more opportunities. Jet D, can you please time out Eagles Land? He's spamming troll comments and insulting our fans. Here's the thing. So, I kept my word and I released the Krakens on here. But it doesn't mean you have to be able to stay in here. Doesn't mean that you have to stay in here. Hold on. Because if you got a real comment, if you're just coming in just to spam stupid stuff, then you can go. You can send an email last Saturday, the 8th. Dallas, can you resend me the email? Because it's probably deep in there, and I'm like way behind on that stuff. I don't know. Who is Tom? Oh, wow. Who's Tom Brady? Right. And see, this is where I'm looking at this, and you guys keep saying, well, let's go get another quarterback. Quarterback's not your problem. Your defense is trash. Your special teams were trash. Those 2 areas are where you have the most room where you can improve. If you go from 21 points a game to, say, 17, we win 3 more games. We win 3 more games just by doing that. You get a kicker. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you one kick, one play cost us going to the playoffs. Just one. One kick. Maher missing against the Minnesota Vikings. Because even though, and this is where it's funny. I'm going to pull this back up too. This is where it's funny. Because people will say, well, you know, Dak Prescott sucks, man. He lost to Kirk Cousins. Well, against Minnesota, Dak Prescott, here's the thing. This is the numbers. This is what drives me crazy. Well, you lost. Kirk Cousins better quarterback than Dak Prescott because he beat him for the first time. Dak is 6-1 against Kirk Cousins. Fact. Dak Prescott is 6-1 against Kirk Cousins. That was the first time they ever won. But take a look at that. Dak, 28 of 46, 60% completions, 397 yards, 3 TDs, 1 touchdown, 104 QBR. Averaged 8.63 yards per completion. And you know what sucked on that? 2 things killed us. Money Maher missed the within 50-yard field goal. Had we got that field goal, when Jason Garrett took the ball out of Dak Prescott's hand and ran it twice on short yardage and we didn't get it, all we would have needed was a field goal to win the game. Or, had Jason Garrett not taken the ball out of Dak Prescott's hand, who was hot, you probably would have scored the touchdown. And had we won that game, we're 9-7 and in the playoffs. That's literally the difference between a winning season and a losing season. One freaking kick. So as I look at this, 397 yards, followed up by the Detroit Lions, by the way. You know, you Eagles lost to the Detroit Lions, right? 444 yards. Even against Tom Brady, who only had 199 yards, in a pouring down rainstorm, 212. And even when I go down here and know that the last 2 weeks of the season, he could not practice. He could not raise his arm over his head. He still had 4 TDs against the Redskins and still made it through those games. Cousins threw for 5,000 yards, so what? Well, I got to tell you, see, and here's the thing. Here's what's funny about Kirk Cousins. I will never, ever forget this game because this is one of those games where I knew the Cowboys lost to the Redskins. We were at the game. I don't know if you remember or not, Mike, but the Redskins had a 1-score lead. It's fourth quarter. The clock is running down. The Redskins are in the red zone, and Kirk Cousins throws an interception in the end zone. And the Cowboys, with Dak Prescott, time running out, drive down the field, and Alfred Morris runs it into the end zone, and they win. And that's one of those things, when you guys talk about Dak Prescott lost the game for us, no. Kirk Cousins lost that game for that team. Because all they had to do was kick a field goal and it would have been a 2-score game. Yet, he threw a pick. Brandon Butler, I'm sick of hearing that stuff. Oh, this is garbage time. Because you know what? There's a lot of guys, there's a lot of players out there. I'll give you one. For example, let's say Matthew Stafford. You can look at Matthew Stafford and the Lions, who are always behind and getting blown out. You can look at that and say, well, all of his yards are pretty much garbage time. But they don't say that, though, do they? They make up things in ways of talking about Dak Prescott to bring him down that they don't use on anybody else. Remember when Dink and Dunk was in? It's Dink and Dunk Dak! Dink and Dunk. And here's the amazing thing. Tom Brady this year had less yards than that year we called Dak Prescott Dink and Dunk. Oh, Cameron, there you go. We also led the league in drop balls. Do you think if our guys held onto the ball just say 50% more than the drops that they had, that maybe we would have won some more of those games? Or maybe if some of those touchdowns that Randall Cobb had weren't called back because of phantom tripping calls, that we might have won some more of those games too? Or is that Dak's fault? Those calls, actually, it was Dak Prescott who made those referees do that, wasn't it? Yeah. So, that's where I go. And I don't care. Listen, if it's all just garbage time yards, then how come not everybody? How come everybody's not throwing for almost 5,000 yards? Anybody? Anybody. Anybody. I'm just saying. One other thing we won't get to is I want to get to Dez Bryant. Dez Bryant is itching to come back. I don't know that that's the best idea. I'm going to get people mad at me, but I'm not sure it's worth the hassle. In the same way, I look at this and people want to bring in Tom Brady. I say Tom Brady is 43 years old. And he's just old. But as I look through the numbers for Dez in 2014 was a beast. 16 touchdowns. 1,320 yards. 88 completions. And in most people's minds, that's what they think you're going to get if Dez comes back. But that's not going to be the case. Because take a look at the 3 years after that. He was injured for 7 games, had 31 receptions, 401 yards, 3 TDs. 2016, played in 13 games, had 50 receptions on 96 targets, okay? 796 yards, averaged 15.9, which was actually statistically his most yards per completion of his career. But his last year in Dallas, 69 receptions, 838 yards, 6 TDs. And after that, of course, released and tore an Achilles tendon. I'm sitting here thinking in my mind that 2 years off for playing football, coming back from Achilles tendon, are we thinking that his numbers are going to be much better than these? For me, in my mind, you keep Randall Cobb. Because Randall Cobb, last year, 15.1 yards per completion, 828 yards as a slot receiver, 6 yards less than what Dez did his last year here. 3 TDs, although he had 3 called back because of tripping and phantom penalties. This, not from a number 1 receiver, but from a slot receiver. Same numbers as you get with Dez Bryant. Dez has a lot of passion. Dez was an incredible athlete who muscled past people. But as I think about where this offense is probably headed. Oh, one other thing too. Dez Bryant's last year, his completion percentage was 52. Randall Cobb last year was 66. When I think that Mike McCarthy is going to be leaning towards the West Coast offense, and we start running more West Coast offense, which is predicated on getting the ball out quickly. And it is about timing routes. It's not about throwing where the guy is. It's about throwing to a spot, and your receiver has to be there right now in that spot, or else you risk it being a pick. Because it's like 1, 2, boom, I'm throwing right there. Right there. That's where you got to be. Dez Bryant's not that disciplined of a wide receiver. Dez Bryant might be on that spot. He might be 2 yards shallower. He might be 2 yards deeper. He might be late. He might be ahead of it. And that's where you look at that and say, that's not going to work. And this is now teaching Dez a new trick. I know he says that, I'd be okay being a 4th wide receiver. But didn't we hear that kind of thing from Jason Witten? Didn't we hear Jason Witten was like, 25 plays a game? But Jason Witten never came off the field. And in today's football, your tight end is as important as your wide receiver, your number 1 guy. You look at the Super Bowl champions last few years, they have something in common. They all have a great pass-catching tight end. It's not the number 1 wide receiver. It's that pass-catching tight end. So I'm not sure. What's up, E2? I'm not sure that that's the best idea right there. I think that's one of those ones where Dez he's aged. He's been a great Cowboy and everything else. I think that's just better to let that dog lie right there. Dak played hurt. Yeah. I don't know why we're laughing out loud about that. Dak plays hurt. Laugh out loud. You know, where Carson Wentz took himself out of a game because he got bumped in the head. And that's where Jason Witten is slow too. And so that's where you start thinking, what is going to be the benefit? I mean, is it going to be that much of a difference having him as the fourth wide receiver? And the other part on this too that I think about is usually your fourth wide receiver plays special teams. And special teams, we need help on. Yeah, but see, Raymond, we need game-breaking plays from our tight end. That's the thing. Witten, yeah, he's always open because they realize, let's hope they throw it to Witten as opposed to Randall Cobb. Let's hope they throw it to Jason Witten as opposed to Amari Cooper, who can take it to the house. Worst comes to worst, he catches the ball, but he's not getting upfield. See, defense is about picking your poison. Who would you rather have the ball? Michael Gallup going down the sidelines? Amari Cooper down the sidelines? Randall Cobb in the slot? Or Jason Witten? Any linebacker can catch him. That's where you pick your poison. Yeah, that's why he's always open because, but he's not getting 10 yards. Yes, Slim, I realize that he is a slow tight end that leads the team in touchdown. Yeah, I agree. I know that. But let me ask you this. What has it done for us? We winning Super Bowls with that? You look at, just take a look. Look at Kansas City's tight ends. Look what Gronk did for Tom Brady. And Tom Brady not having Gronk this year, you can see how much is missing. Look at what Zach Ertz and Dallas Gephardt do for the Eagles. They didn't have wide receivers, but they got two of the best tight ends in football. And that's why that offense actually worked well. They don't talk about those two great tight ends that Carson Wentz is throwing to. They just say, any news on Justin? No news on Justin. No, there's no news on Justin. I'll just leave it at that. Gallup is developing, definitely. But for me, in my mind, I still say defense is where we need to go. Defense and special teams are the two places where if we improve, we're great. We'll be in fantastic position. If we just keep the offense the way it is this year and we improve our defense to just take 3 less points a game. If we have special teams that just give us the ball, at the 25-yard line as opposed to the 15. If we have kickers that actually make field goals instead of missing one every game, then we'll win a lot more games and be a decent team. Philly, what did your tight ends do, though? Philly fan D. So you made up for a lot of that with your tight ends. Brandon Butler, I agree with you on that we definitely need to fix our problems with our defense. And I think that's going to happen because we have a totally different philosophy. I loved Rod Marnelli and, where he took guys that were journeymen and made them decent defensive linemen, but the Tampa 2 was outdated. Now we've got some guys that we're going to end up, or we hope, they're going to take this defense and try and bludgeon people. Agreed, Frank. Drafting Xavier McKinney. I think Randall Cobb will be back because of Mike McCarthy. I think he's definitely going to hold on to him. If the Cowboys fix the defense, I look at it this way: if we had New England's defense this year, we got the Super Bowl. That's the difference of their defense versus ours. I'm going to start working on my draft picks, but I'm going defensive line. I'm taking the biggest, meanest, nasty, one technique guy that's in the draft. Cowboys Up North, email me about. Okay, well, anybody. Oh, by the way, I need to get this set up here too. Shout out to everybody who's become a channel member. If you became a channel member and you hadn't gotten your shot glass yet, please email me at cowboysmark94@gmail so that way I can get your shot glass to you. I've got to mail out a bunch of more tomorrow, and I appreciate that. But get your shot glass ready. And everybody who ordered their shot glass racks, me and Michael Anthony are working on those, and we'll get those out in the next couple of days. So, boom. And for all those people out there that talk about my quarterback, let me give you this one too. Yeah, Carson Wentz. Yeah, so Eagle fans are going through and talking about how great their quarterback was, and Dak Prescott couldn't beat him. Well, that was Carson Wentz the first game where we won 37-7. So those who live in glass houses, you really shouldn't cast the first stone. Hope everybody got their shot glass. Dez a little bigger. Try and get him a tight end. Oh my God, no, I'm gonna drink on that one. Woo! Yeah, I needed it on that one. But everybody, I appreciate all the support from everybody here. I think next year will be a better year for us. Lord knows it can't be worse. And I'm looking forward to it. We've got all kinds of stuff planned. I'm working on getting us to the draft and doing some special things. I'm working on doing a special event with damn, why can't I think of the name of Collector's World? We also have coming up, I think the end of next month, the autograph signing in Chantilly. So we got all kinds of stuff that's going on. We'll probably live stream from our man cave next Saturday, the game and stuff, and we're going to be bringing you football and everything else. So I appreciate all the support that each and every one of you guys have given me. But right now, it's time for me to turn out the lights because this party is over.
The party's over. They say that all good things must end. Call it a night. The party's over. And tomorrow and next year starts the same old thing again.